Hello everyone, my name is Ingrid Escalante and this is my project on culturally responsive library. For this project, I worked with a pre-K classroom, so 4 to 5-year-old students. This is the graph for the section A, gender. In the classroom library, there were 20 books with female characters and 18 with females as the main character. For the males, you can see that the numbers are slightly higher. Non-binary were the same, and non-human characters. The library did have a lot of those books. For section B on race, there were a good number of African American books in the classroom and books in which an African American person was also the main character. For white books, the numbers were a lot higher. Asian American were only about a handful. Native and indigenous, there were very few. Middle Eastern and Arab, we only had 2, which was surprising because a lot of the demographic in the classroom is Middle Eastern. Section C, the setting, there weren't many books that covered the different areas that people live in, and I thought this was really important in the classroom because we do have some students that live in apartment complexes. The section D, disability, sexual orientation, family structure, language, economic diversity, and religion. We did not have that many books on disabilities, which was surprising as well because we do have a lot of children with disabilities that attend the school, and we've had them in the past. So I thought this was really important to have in the classroom in order for children to learn about being inclusive. And for a lot of them, this will also be the first time that they've interacted with a person that has a disability. For lesbian, gay, or bisexual, we do have a couple of books, and that's actually throughout the whole school. Family structure, we only had 2 books on those, and books in other languages, there weren't that many as well. One thing that the teachers did share is that the books do get rotated, so there is an additional library that has a little bit more of a variety selection. But I thought that it was important to have books available for kids within their classroom setting at all times, so that they could see their family structures, cultures reflected in the classroom. The demographic of my students, so it's a pretty small group of students right now. 4 are females and there are 7 males. The majority of the students are Middle Eastern. 5 of those students are white, and we don't really have any other no Asian students in the classroom or other cultures. My classroom was a mirror and window. I thought the library was a good window for family dynamics, incorporating same gender families, different family structures. A lot of students have grandparents living with them. So I thought that was important, and the library was a good window for that. It included books on same-sex parents, different family structures, and the library was a good mirror for special cultural celebrations. The school recently celebrated the Lunar New Year, and they had books that spoke about that. Currently, this month, we do have a lot of students that are Muslims and will be celebrating Ramadan. So that's also being incorporated. During winter, we had some students who celebrate Hanukkah, so there are books on that. And a lot of students who are from India and celebrate Diwali. So that was also incorporated. And I really like this quotes that I took from some of the reading in the course. One is children need books as windows onto their reality, not just as imaginary worlds. Books that will help them understand their place as a member of just one group, as well as their connections to all other humans. And I thought that was really important to acknowledge each student's individuality, but also to find how we are connected to people outside of our cultures. The other quote that I really liked is, books can introduce readers to the history and traditions that are important to one cultural group and which invite comparisons to their own. So I really like this because it highlights the importance of looking at the commonalities instead of just pinpointing the differences. And books are a great way to teach students about other cultures and traditions, and to instill in them a sense of acceptance and respect for others. Areas of improvement. There were no books that taught children about different home structures, different ways that people live. And I thought that was really important, especially for the demographics in the area. For a lot of these kids, books are going to be a window for them to learn about how other people live, about other cultures. So I thought that was really crucial to have in the classroom. Another area where I would like to see improvement are persons with disabilities. It not only physical, but also health-wise, children with allergies or other restrictions. We do have had a lot of children with health problems. Recently, one student suffered a seizure. So I think it's important to help students understand that there are people that learn in different ways and that have certain restrictions, but that they can still be a part of our community. The other area that the library was really lacking in was books that address economic struggles or poverty. And I thought this was really crucial, especially for children who don't understand what it's like to go without. I think it's really important for them to learn to be appreciative of what they have, and to also instill a sense of giving to others, of helping those in need. So that's one area that I would like to see improvement in. And after comparing the total number of books in the classroom library to the number of students in the class, there's definitely a gap in that diversity of the books and a lack of representation for all students in the classroom. In general, I don't think that the library does an adequate job to mirror the students in the classroom, or even to serve as a window for other cultures. So that's an area that I would like to see improvement in. To include more books on culture, religion, urban settings, so that children can have a better understanding of the world around them. And some of the book recommendations would be for economic struggles or hardships. Un Sillón para mi mamá, A Chair for My Mother by Vera B. Williams. I really like this book because, one, it's in English and in Spanish, and it also talks about how this family saves. One, it's a different family structure. It's just the little girl, the mom, and the grandma. And they're apartment burns down, so they end up losing everything, and they were saving up to buy a chair for her mom to rest. So it also showcases living in apartments and how neighbors come together to support each other in a time of need. So I really thought that was a really good book for children. And then Those Shoes is another great book. This is about a little boy who really wants the shoes that everyone in his class is wearing. And so his grandma tries really hard to find a good deal, and she saves a little bit of money. And one thing that was really interesting about this book is a phrase that grandma uses. It's not about what he wants, but about the shoes that he needs. In the end, he ends up finding the shoes that he wants at a thrift store, but they're too small. This little boy buys them anyway, and then he sees another friend who is in need, and the only student who didn't laugh at him when his shoes kind of ended up falling apart. So he ends up gifting the shoes that he really wanted to a friend who really needed them. And I thought this was a really good book to instill one, appreciating what we have, and also being able to learn the difference between wanting and needing something. The other books that I would recommend about just different types of housing and how people live. One of them is Our Big Little Place by James A. Conan, and this is about a little boy who lives in an apartment and how he makes the best of living in an apartment, and he shares kind of pros and cons. The next book is My Home, Your Home, Our Home, and this was a really great book because it showcases people around the world, the different types of homes and structures. So I thought this was a really great way. It would make a great window for a lot of the children in the classroom. The last book is Homes Around the World, and I also really like this one. This one kind of goes into a bit more in depth about the home structures, how some homes can move around, and the different lifestyles that people lead living in these homes. The other book recommendations, and this is something that I do see lacking, not only in the classroom library, but in general in most classroom libraries, and something that comes up a lot is the loss of a loved one. And I found 3 books that I really liked and thought were age appropriate. One is An Acorn Full of Memories by Audrey Penn. And the next one is The Goodbye Book by Todd Parr. The third one is The Memory Tree by Brita. And all of these books simplify what it means to lose a dear one and ways that we can remember them. So it helps children process grief, and it does it in a way that students can understand and that it's easy for parents to explain. So I thought, as someone who has experienced a loss in the classroom and who has had families come and ask for suggestions, I thought this would be a great selection to have in the classroom available for students and families. And I would like to end with this quote. When there are enough books available that can act as both mirrors and windows for all children, they will see that we can celebrate both our differences and our similarities, because together, they are what make us all human. And I thought this quote resonates so much with the purpose of this project of auditing the library. It is important that there are books that represent the children that we serve, but also that serve as a window for them to learn about the world outside of what they know, so that we can cultivate a sense of respect, inclusiveness, and appreciation for others. Thank you very much.